Welcome back to News Central. We're starting off from the regions now, where with the announcement by government to reintroduce the Parent-Teacher Association, PTA, in the administrative framework of schools, stakeholders in the education sector believe that the move will further strengthen cooperation between parents and teachers, ultimately enhancing student learning outcomes. Executive Director of the Center for Active Learning and Integrated Development, Khalid Ghana Mohammed Awal Sumani says the decision by government is timely. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu, speaking at a public forum, announced a return of the Parent-Teacher Association into the framework of school management. Let's get more reaction on this development. We've been joined by my colleague Christopher Amwako, who's following up on this in the northern part of the country. Chris, we know stakeholders are meeting in the Volta region, but there are some in the north. How are they reacting to this decision by government to return the parent into the fold of administration with respect to the schools?
Yes, so Mawena, first of all, it has to do with the issues of discipline. And according to these stakeholders in education in the northern region, with the PTA in place and fully activated in the administration of the schools, it will instill discipline in the students. You remember that in recent past, we have experienced some happenings in some senior high schools where students, some of whom were wielding weapons, others stabbing their college students. And so they believe that once the PTA system is fully activated and is enforced, it will instill discipline. The other aspect has to do with the fact that PTA contributes to the development of the schools when it comes to infrastructure, especially in the senior high schools, where the PTAs themselves levy themselves to be able to ensure that some infrastructure is provided. And so they believe that this, if properly done, will ensure some development in these schools. Let's take a listen to what the Executive Director for Khalid Ghana has to say.
Chris, we'll have to take a listen to him a lot later, but how do they see this implementation being carried out? And also, I'm sure they have thoughts in relation to the ongoing conversations about a reform on Ghana's education sector as well.
Yes, exactly. So, Mawena, for them, the teachers alone cannot handle issues in the school, just as the management of the schools. And so bringing the PTA on board to fully participate in the administration of the schools will ensure some reforms when it comes to discipline, when it comes to ensuring that teachers are always in school to teach these students, and also ensuring that management of schools perform their respective duties. Also, to be able to ensure that government, on the other hand, is put in check when it comes to the provision of education materials, the provision of infrastructure for some of these schools. Mawena.
Right, and Chris, thank you for those details. That's my colleague Christopher Amako with details there for us with respect to what it is that's been happening. We will move on from there, take you to the Ashanti region shortly as well in relation to what's happening there. But we know as well that that education forum is ongoing. It's on its last leg today, and we'll seek to provide you details of it a lot later. But let's move on now. And a Tuesday evening rainstorm has brought academic activities to a temporary halt at Ninting Presby Primary in the Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region. Roofs of several classrooms have been ripped off, rendering the affected infrastructure non-usable. Some homes have also been affected by the rainstorm. Ibrahim is following up on this, and on your screens already you see how the students are, or the pupils I should say, going about not being able to have their teachers come around for teaching and learning to proceed. Ibrahim has joined us via Zoom. Let's see if help is on the way for these students. Ibrahim, we've seen the videos, the students gathered water in all of their classrooms amidst the rubbish, as is on our screens right now. How soon are authorities seeking to bring help their way?
Well, the NADMO officials have been there to ascertain the extent of damage, and they have given them that assurance that they will forward it to the necessary quarters so that help will come. But how soon, that is where the issue is. We do not know how soon. That's how come the teachers have even encouraged the students to try and tidy up the place. In fact, today has been a field day for most of the over 100 students, the pupils, because they've been loitering about. The others who have been asked to clean the classroom so that from tomorrow they will even be able to use it or improvise with it and continue with their academic works. They are just hoping that by the close of the week or latest by Monday, this problem be fixed so that effective academic work will continue. Because if we leave it as it is now, fine, they can be able to improvise with it, but anytime it threatens to rain, it means academic activities would have to come to a halt. So that is what they are expecting. Now you move to the community you find close to about 20 homes that have also been affected by yesterday's storm, and personal belongings have been destroyed. Most of them told me they even slept in the open. They are also hoping that help will come their way so that they will be able to re-roof their houses and to be able to continue with their lives. Like I said, NADMO has been there taking inventory and has promised them that the necessary help will come back, but they've not been able to give them the timeline when they will be able to fix their problem for them.
Right, and we know that on NADMO's side, no clear timelines as to when help can come their way, but have authorities in the municipality, we know MMDCs are yet to be appointed, but they are acting heads in these respective MMDAs. Has there been anybody from either of these respective agencies moving in as well, seeking to get an understanding of what the situation is, how badly it's affecting teaching and learning, and seeking to do something about this?
Well, for now, no one has come, with the exception of the NADMO. They are hoping that maybe even per NADMO's assessment, they will be able to hand it over to the coordinating director, who will find ways and means of solving the issue. You know, like you rightly mentioned, the challenge has been the absence of MMDCs and having them to be able to fix some of these things. But we do know that the regional minister is also from around that enclave, Mampo. Maybe they are hoping that if he gets to know about it, he will also take steps and make sure that he fix at least the classroom blocks for them to be able to continue with effective teaching and learning process.
Brian, thank you for those details. That's my colleague, Ibrahim Abubakar, from the Ashanti region, providing details there for us.
Let's check in on that education forum, where education financing, provision of quality education and infrastructure are dominating the final day of the National Education Forum put together by the Mahama administration. The two-day forum, which has gathered stakeholders from across the spectrum of Ghana's education system, is seeking active solutions to guide the improvement of the sector. President Mahama has already promised the recommendations of the committee and its work would not be ignored. Today, stakeholders from the Volta and Oti regions are leading conversations on the thematic areas on infrastructure, education financing, and evidence for decision-making. Well, now, let's touch base with Faisal Abdul-Idrisu, who is a Volta region correspondent, is joining us with the latest from the National Education Forum in the Volta Regional Capital Hall. Faisal, good afternoon to you. What can you report?
Yeah, Kemini, so today is day 2 of the National Education Forum, as you rightly stated. There are 2 events happening today. One at the Volta Steering Hotel, where the national conversation is still ongoing. But the event is now decentralized to have a zonal conversation on the Volta and Oti region. And that will mark the beginning of several other zonal meetings to be held across the country. to collate ideas and to gather information and opinions of persons who are more related to the issue of education to put in some form of a consensus on how we should proceed as far as the educational structure of this country is concerned. As I speak to you, the voter NOT conversation, which began earlier this morning, is currently moved into a breakout session. And so the participants that have been drawn from the various schools, including teachers, students, the teacher unions, farmers, all interest groups have been drawn here today to make an input into the conversation on the key thematic areas of financing, quality education, data and research, quality education delivery, among others. And central to this conversation is the issue of infrastructure. And so today, when you listen to the earlier speakers that started the conversation on the voter NOT region, they actually made reference to the issue of the pre-SHS policy that has now been confronted largely with the issue of infrastructure, inadequate infrastructure. And so now that they've moved into the breakout section, the expectation is that when they come out from the breakout session, the groups will make input. They will bring out ideas that will feed into the broader conversation around how to make our education a better one. Later today at 1, the Minister for Education will come down to the GM Aperture Auditorium here at the Ho Technical University, where he will come to close the conversation officially on the voter NOT region, and then they move back to Accra to continue with the zonal conversations across the remaining regions of the country. Coming in.
Well, Faisal, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Faisal Abdul-Idrisu is voter region correspondent, joining us live from that forum in Ho. But there's more on this story. Moina, what are we looking at?
And the conversations we know have centered largely on, like we've been mentioning, education, finance, and amongst many other things. Key amongst all of that, which Faisal just mentioned, has to do with free SHS and then public education as well. And so of the many things that is being looked at, we know as well that second cycle education remains one of the most critical because of its free nature as well, free SHS and then the free TVET as well. What we understand based on the numbers that we've been able to pull out is that we have some 1.32 million plus students currently in the respective institutions, in the 947 public institutions with some 69,915 teachers. But if we zero in proper with regards to free SHS and what some of the funding challenges we'll be seeking to address, these are the challenges which have been laid quite bare and we've been reporting on for quite a while. Starting off with the double track system, which has received its fair share of criticism. There's been concerns over feeding challenges as well. The conversation of inadequate infrastructure directly feeds into why the double track system has been in place to start off with. Then misallocation of intended funds. Then there's the private senior high schools under siege. We know that Mr. Mahama has made a pledge that they will be incorporated into the free SHS policy as well. Then work overload on teachers in reducing contact hours as well. That has been a conversation. We know this government in opposition had cause to advocate increasingly that the way the structure was with the double track system, contact hours between teachers and students had reduced greatly, and hence something needs to be done. This forum will be expected to provide details, but a bit more in terms of what the financing has looked like. We know that when free SHS was launched, the Kufuor government said it was going to be funded through oil proceeds. Now, based off on that, on the first budget for free SHS, what we saw in the first year of implementation was that the government went well and above its budget, 120% in terms of allocation. But since the first year of implementation and possibly the second year, we've seen a steady decline somewhat in terms of allocations made by the finance ministry towards the implementation of free SHS. And that's what some analysts say has primarily caused some of the challenges that we've seen. We've seen Charles raise concerns about no funding coming through, resulting in food not being available and other matters being taken care of. That's because as at 2021, 2022, only 51% of allocated funds was being released for the implementation of free SHS. And so funding challenges, one of the things that they are seeking to find solutions to, this is the numbers which suggest that it is a big issue of conversation and one that we have to look at, because the oil funds as well were being used to fund the Agenda 111 project as well. And so it meant that free SHS was also going to suffer, which means there needs to be a conversation really as to how free SHS can be funded, basic education as well can be funded, and we'll look forward to the report when it comes to it.
You look at the 2017 era, it looks like between then and 2022, funding had gone down about 69%. Absolutely. That is outrageous. Outrageous. Anyway, so those are the numbers, right?
Yeah, that's the numbers.
Well, away from education, some Ghanaian tomato traders say they will not resort to foreign markets in making the vegetable available on the markets. Ghana, for a while now, has sourced a chunk of its tomato produce from neighboring Burkina Faso, a development which comes with considerable danger to the market's women who make the journey for the critical farm produce. The traders say their decision not to look outside stems from an improvement in the quality of tomatoes produced from the Upper West region. Well, that's where we are going now, the Upper West region, where Tanko Mohammed Rabiu, our correspondent, has been following the story. Tanko, I appreciate you talking to us, but let's look at the general outlook as far as the tomato producers or its production in the Upper East region is concerned. The farmers say that the region is producing a lot. What are the numbers you're picking up? What are you seeing?
Yes, thank you very much. Prior to the improved variety of this tomato by the FSRP, there's a sharp decline of tomato production in that country due to the quality, and that is the reason why the tomato traders, especially known as market queens from the southern part of Ghana, normally travel to Burkina Faso in search of the quality tomato, because most farmers here are not producing the quality that they need, especially in the Upper East zone. That is the total area, the Boku West and the rest. So, due to the improved variety of the FSRP, the new motors has really encouraged the marketplace, to wanting to come back to Ghana to buy their motors. Because yesterday they visited some of the farms and they really like the motors, say that they are going to be here to buy their motors.
I see. Rabiu, what has been the reaction really from the tomato traders and transporters, especially knowing that they may be the basket for tomato production in the country now? What are they saying?
Yes, yesterday their executive, including the national chairman of Tomato Traders Association, in fact, when they visited the farms and they saw the quality of the FSRP variety, they were in fact happy about the tomato, saying that this is what they really want. And then that's what they have seen yesterday from the tomato farmers, from the new variety, is that it's more than what they normally take from Burkina Faso. So because of that, as far as the farmers are able to produce in large quantities, they will not be able to go, because they are very excited about the new variety. And that's the reason why they normally risk their lives from the jihadists throughout the journey to Burkina Faso, where they are being extorted monies from the various barriers in Burkina Faso, which come up to about 10,000 Ghana per trader. So they are happy that this will at least reduce this dangers and this cost. So because of that, we are happy about the motive and they want to, buy it here in Ghana.
Indeed, Rabiu. Send me some fresh tomatoes, will you? Thank you so much for talking to us. Tanko Rabiu Mohammed is our Upper East Region correspondent, taking us on a break as we bring it close to Regional Hub.
Timota School, the beacon of leadership, bounteous fountain of excellence and discipline, precious source of living water to a thirsty land, proudly celebrates its 98th Founders Day, organized by the
Welcome back to News Central. Now, the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta-Kando, says cholera vaccines have been secured for Phase 4 of the vaccination in the Agona West District of the Central Region. It follows a successful implementation of Phases 1 and 2 of the sub-national oral vaccine campaigns in 5 districts in the Central and Western regions and subsequently in the Greater Accra region. The Health Minister, who made this known during his appearance in Parliament, further noted the challenges confronting government efforts in the cholera fight.
Subsequent to Phase 1 and 2 vaccinations, OCV were approved for Accra Metro and vaccination just ended. The period was from 14th to 17th February. As of Sunday, February 17th, a total of 370 people had been vaccinated in Ablekuma, Asedu Keteke, Okankwe, and Accra metro areas. We have also secured approval for vaccination for Agona West and submitted an application for Efutu. Mr. Speaker, despite our efforts, we continue to face challenges in our response to the cholera outbreak. These challenges include poor sanitation and hygiene practices and limited access to safe water. As you can see, Mr. Speaker, cholera persists in our country for a reason. It persists because of a poor sanitation, including open defecation, unsafe water, and unhygienic food. As a result, Mr. Speaker, cholera requires a multi-sectorial approach in our effort to bring it under control.
Member of Parliament for Ahanta West, Mavis Kukwa Besu Boateng, has called on government to address sanitation challenges in tackling the cholera outbreak in the country. Delivering a statement on the widespread improper disposal of waste, as well as streetism and housing challenges, she noted that such practices continue to pose public health threats to residents in her constituency.
The recent cholera outbreak in Ghana has had a devastating impact, particularly in my constituency, Ahanta West. Between October and December 2024, 345 of my people were affected, and sadly, 4 lives were lost. Communities that depend on fishing, such as Ajwa, Funko, Amanfro, Disco, and others, facing significant challenges, including lack of waste management, limited access to clean drinking water, and inadequate public toilets. In towns like Agunan Kwanta, Abra, and Aponwa, improper waste disposal is rampant, with refuse being dumped in areas like Damete, Miemia, and the Aponwa Cemetery. This not only creates severe environmental risks, but also poses a serious threat to public health. Any approach to solving sanitation challenges without carefully considering homelessness, streetism, and slum proliferation will not succeed.
Some more stories now. And one of the leading lawyers of embattled finance, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, has dismissed claims made by the special prosecutor in his communication that Mr. Ofori-Atta told the office that he was out of the country indefinitely. Bright Ochre Jekum says it was unnecessary for the special prosecutor Kisie Jabin to place his client on a wanted list and describe him as a fugitive when all parties were in conversations about his availability for the probe into the former minister's actions. He spoke on Agenda on TV3.
Just quickly place on record that it has never been the Ofori-Atta's case that he says he will be out of the country indefinitely.
And so that's the lawyers of Mr. Ofori-Atta, the former finance minister. But we know away from that, the Minister for Works and Housing and Water Resources has revealed plans to initiate work on the Saglemi housing project, emphasizing a commitment to completing all projects undertaken by the ministry. There'll be a lot more on that, but we'll end with the National Peace Council, who've announced plans to roll out the use of hijabs in all mission schools in the country. During a visit by the Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, to the council, the Executive Secretary of the Peace Council, George Amo, indicated that the move was to deepen religious tolerance in second cycle academic institutions and all mission schools.
15. The use of hijabs by Muslim female students in Christian mission schools became topical after some students were reported to have worn hijab to school, flouting the school's rules and regulations. In 2021, another incident involving some Muslim female students of the Wesley Girls Senior High School were prevented from practicing their faith in the school. Eventually, the school was sued for its religious intolerance. The National Peace Council intervened by brokering peace among the parties involved after all mission schools in the country were engaged and agreed to tolerate one's beliefs in the school. Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, George Amu, told journalists that the council is ready to roll out hijab use by Muslims in all mission schools.
We have succeeded in getting all the mission schools and the Ghana Education Service to buy into, yes, across the country, to buy into an MOU that will guide behavior, religious behavior, should I say, in our secondary schools and indeed all our schools. So we've been able to secure that document. What we are waiting for is for the Ghana Education Service to give us the endorsement so that we can officially launch the document.
The document regarding the engagement is yet to be launched. Meanwhile, the office space accommodating the National Peace Council has been sold and the occupants served with eviction notices.
We received 2 eviction notices that the Peace Council has to vacate this place to pave way for the redevelopment of this enclave. We complained to the former president who came to our aid and restrained any federal actions towards the planned eviction.
But the Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, assured the staff of government support to work to promote peace in the country. He again indicated that organizations and individuals who will contribute to fund the operations of the Peace Council will be granted tax amnesty in consultation with the Minister for Finance.
Our heavy reliance on GOD will continue to elude us. But if business people know, your business can strive when there's peace. Without peace, your business cannot strive. What are you willing to contribute so that we can have peace, so that we can have an environment where your business can thrive? I will be also talking to the Minister of Finance to encourage the Minister of Finance to give tax credit to persons who donate to Peace Council. So if you donate money to Peace Council, you can use that, you can be receipted and use that to rebate or to reduce your tax burden when it is declared. I'm sure through this kind of initiative, we'll be able to find a more reliable source of funding for the Peace Council.
Already, 10 communities, including Wale Wale, have been placed under curfew. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
From the Interior Minister?
Yeah, tax amnesty for person to donate towards the National Peace Council. I'm sure it will be subject to a lot more consultation and interrogation because off the top, doesn't quite stick just yet for me. I don't know what you think as well.
Yeah, I know.
But that's our bulletin for you this afternoon. I am Mawina.
And I am Kemeni Amano. Next is the afternoon show. Just stay on. Bye-bye from us.